What's up, guys? Rick here with your preview for this week's Genesis Invitational, and I feel a little bit of deja vu. That's right. If you haven't heard by now, this event is not going to be played at Riviera because of the wildfires in the Pacific Palisades. So they have moved it to Torrey Pines, a golf course that we just played a handful of weeks ago. They are only going to play the South Course. It is a smaller field, a signature event, but there is still a cut. We'll talk about all of that in just 1 second. But I do want to point out before we jump into this, our listener league has seemingly been filling earlier and earlier. So the Genesis Invitational contest is already up. It's $20 entry. It's completely guaranteed at $10,000 in the purse. And this seems to be filling a lot quicker these days. So if you want to get a spot, links in the description. Go check it out. I donate my $100 in there every single week with 5 entries, but it's already kind of filling up pretty early here. All right, let's talk about this a bit. I don't think we need to talk about the golf course a whole lot. We just talked about it a couple weeks ago, but here's the gist of what's going on. So we've got 72 golfers in the field. There is a cut. So there are some of these signature events that do have cuts. This is one of them. So I believe the API and the Memorial are the other two. Anybody within the top 50 or 10 shots. So basically the Masters cut rule is going to make the weekend. So you're probably going to have a very small cut unless somebody jumps out to a huge lead by Friday night or someone's playing really poorly, whatever that might be. It is probably going to produce a pretty large cut. So for our purposes, there's a general assumption that we are going to be playing all 4 rounds here for golfers that we're looking at. The other thing of note is the Farmers Insurance Open uses both the North and the South course at Torrey Pines. This event will only use the South course, which is the more difficult side. It is the championship side, all that fun stuff. So it is also the ShotLink side. So, I don't think we need to dive too far into this. What I would rather do is talk about what we've learned from the Farmers Insurance Open and how we can use that moving forward. Well, first off, this golf course, again, it asks you a lot of the same question over and over. Hit it far, hit a long iron into these greens. There is just thick rough around the greens. That's not particularly difficult to move your ball through. Around the greens, in the rough from the fairway, alongside the fairway, it definitely is. And then the POA putting surfaces always give these guys fits. So what did we learn from not only, what did we learn from last time? Well, this is a golf course that you either need to be very accurate or very long or a little bit of both. Which I guess you can say about a lot of courses, but the stats say that missing the fairway is a bigger penalty on almost every single hole at Torrey Pines than hitting a longer than average drive. There's more that goes into golf, obviously, than just hitting a long drive, because now your club head speed does allow you to extract yourself from the rough. But this accuracy way is kind of the way that Sam Stevens was in the mix, kind of the way that Andrew Novak was in the mix. And we saw those guys, especially Novak, kind of struggle with some short game shots coming down the stretch, probably a little bit of pressure there on Sunday, but this is the way they got themselves into contention. I want to go back and look at the results from the Farmers Insurance Open. And here they are here. So this is the Holy Grail on my website, RickRunGood.com. You can see Sam Stevens, Harris English, they're all up here. And these are adjusted by course. And I'm only showing you the guys that are in this field. I'm not showing you every single player from the Farmers Insurance Open. So you can go through these and you can look, but I think there's a couple of things to point out here. There are a few golfers that missed the cut that probably didn't deserve it. I look at someone like Shane Lowry here, Shane Lowry played really beautifully around the South course. He gained a half a stroke to the field. He gained 2 strokes ball striking. He did struggle on and around the putting surfaces, but he's usually better than that. And then he beat the field average on Friday in the second round at the North course. If you remember, there was a pretty significant weather wave where the North course played really I don't know, 2 shots easier. Maybe it wasn't that much. Maybe it was a stroke and a half easier than the South course on Thursday, but they were nearly dead even on Friday. And guys that had to play the North course on Friday got the raw end of the deal. That is literally what happened. So Shane Lowry definitely played good enough to make the cut. Definitely put up a stat profile that was pretty good at the South Course, but we did not get to see the weekend. It's going to be a little more fair this time around because they're all going to play the same golf course at the same time. Other guys that, you can, just because you missed the cut doesn't mean it's a good missed cut. Steven Yeager gained enough strokes to the field over 2 rounds, 1.5 on Thursday on the South Course, and then he lost 3/4 of a stroke on Friday at the North Course. That any other week, that's good enough to get you to the weekend, right? You gain strokes to the field. Most times you're going to make the weekend. That's how it works with the cut numbers. But I look at his South Course round, and while that was his better round, it was completely devoid of any ball striking. He lost nearly 2 strokes there, and he gained all of that and then some on and around the putting surfaces. 1.2 around the greens, 2.1 on the putting surfaces. That is not really sustainable. So what I have been doing, what I like to do, and what I'll continue to do this week is kind of click through some of these performances from just a couple of weeks ago and kind of just get a little bit more information. I'm not going to beat anybody up for 1 round or 2 rounds or anything like that, but I think it is worth noting if you are going to look at not last week, at the event a couple weeks ago, the Farmers, if you're going to use that at all, you've got to be fair and you've got to be objective about the way that we are sorting all of this. So I'll point more of those things out as we go along here, but this is a big boy golf course. I imagine the rough is going to be, quite juicy, as it always is. It's going to play long. You're going to need to survive the turn here, right? 10, 11, 12, just devious holes, 13 being a par 5. That's never a given. So yeah, par is going to be a good score, right? How many times did we see Harris English, especially on Sunday, get up and down, miss the green in the proper spot, give himself 2 and 3 footers for par, while Andrew Novak was leaving himself 5 and 6 footers for par, and that adds up. It really just adds up. So solid short game, different field. We're going to talk about all of this, and we're going to jump into the player pool right now. Here it is in all its glory, the cheat sheet over at RickRunGood.com. There are 4 golfers over $10,000 this week, and I'm going to say something I don't think I've said in a very long time, but I'm a little bit worried about Scottie Scheffler, and I want to put that into like huge asterisks on that, right? I've been 11 out of 10, 12 out of 10 on Scottie for basically a year. But I do bump him down to like a 9 out of 10, right? So he is $12,300, which is more expensive than he was last week. He is, I don't even care about the way he finished at TPC Scottsdale. I do not care at all. He was miserable on the final 9 holes. He missed that birdie putt on 10. If he makes that putt, he might win the golf tournament. It was like 5 feet from above the hole. If he makes that, he probably wins. He misses it, things go sideways. He finishes T25. I do not care about that at all. He is Scottie Scheffler. He is that dude. The concern, you've probably heard me say this a lot, Torrey Pines does not allow a lot of guys to have great history here. You see, you're always on the edge of a double or like kind of doing something stupid, and a lot of the big name players at this event over the years have missed the cut. Scottie's history here is very, very small. He didn't play here in 2023. He didn't play here in 2024. He did not play the Farmers in 2025. So he played here in 2022, the Farmers, T20 there, and then the US Open, T7, and then missed cut in each of his last 2 trips prior to that. So it's not a sparkling record. I think this is a golf course that really just kind of jostles everybody up at the top of the board and basically throughout the entire board. So I think that if there was ever a week to be a little bit more conservative with Scottie, it is probably here. And that same thing goes for everybody, right? Like Rory McIlroy, not immune to missing the cut this week. Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, all those guys. I was incredibly impressed with what Rory McIlroy did at Pebble Beach. And you have probably heard me say a million times, or I guess maybe I didn't say it a million times, but the idea that he was not going to be able to really use his driver, his weapon at Pebble Beach, shame on me. Shame on me. He took lines that I didn't really know was possible, right? I mean, it was awesome stuff. And he used the driver as a weapon, and he goes out and he wins at Pebble Beach. This is a much better setup for him. He's got 4 trips here, including the 2021 US Open, 5th, 3rd, 16th, and T7. He hasn't played here in a couple of years. The tee to green numbers are spectacular. The putting numbers are above average. I think Rory McIlroy is brewing up a big 2025, and there's no reason to think it doesn't continue here. The other two, Justin Thomas and Collin Morikawa. The frustrations around JT, listen, I feel them too. If you've been holding a lot of winning Justin Thomas tickets or outright Justin Thomas tickets, you have not returned anything. If you've been playing him in one and dones and fantasy formats and tiers and all that stuff, you've been printing, and you've been doing it in a really big way. What I saw from him at TPC Scottsdale was a guy who left so many strokes out there. We are talking, he had penalty strokes, he had putts that never sniffed the cup, all that stuff. He still goes out and finishes T6 thanks to an incredible finish. He has now extended this winning streak of positive tee to green numbers to every event dating back to the Scottish Open. Just no, the concerns for Justin Thomas have always been the concerns for Justin Thomas, right? So that's a good thing. He's got a handful of trips here. He played here last in 2023. He's got 4 top 25 finishes in his 5 trips, but nothing better than T10. So a bunch of good, not a lot of great. And then Collin Morikawa. Listen, I've been buying all the Collin Morikawa, and we're not stopping anytime soon. He is in my opinion, a better version of Justin Thomas. I think that he can hit a lot more fairways than Justin Thomas can around Torrey Pines. I think that he is going to be excellent on approach, and we just have to figure out what he's going to do basically on and around the putting surfaces. But this is a spot where he should really find a lot of success. He's the guy that when you go to the course stats and you say, okay, well, accuracy is better than statistically better than an above average drive distance on every single hole but number 7. That's Collin Morikawa. That's what we're talking about here. So he's going to try to stack up a bunch of, off the tee gains. If he starts missing fairways, it's over, but that's not really usually a concern when it comes to Collin Morikawa. The 9K range here. So a couple of items. I am not at all worried about Ludwig Åberg. The last 2 times we saw him were the 2 final rounds here, in which he was, as far as the accounts go, literally vomiting on the golf course. And then the first round at Pebble Beach, where he was still ill and he played horribly and withdrew. If we just forgive him for being sick, he has been the 5th best golfer in the world statistically since turning professional. It's Scotty, it is Rory. I'm sorry. Scotty, Rory, Xander, Fleetwood, believe it or not, and then Ludwig since the day that 2024 Canadian Open. This is a golf course that really allows Ludwig to lean into the strengths. Long and straight off the tee is so valuable here. So valuable. And oh, by the way, the rest of his game is great. So those things do not concern me. The rest of this 9K range is a little uninspiring. Hideki, as much as I love Hideki and his record around this place is great, it does feel like I don't know if he's hitting a little bit of a wall. He's just regressing a little bit. I do not like to see that he has lost strokes off the tee in 3 straight, including the final 2 rounds here at the South Course at the Farmers Insurance Open. So he has now lost strokes off the tee in, what is that? 2, 4, 7 out of his last 12 rounds. That is not very good. That's usually a weapon for him. If he does not have that weapon, he's going to be in trouble. The putter has cooled off a little bit. So there are statistical signs that worry me about Hideki, even though this has been a very good place for him in his history. Patrick Cantlay is here. I'm not quite ready to get there on Patrick Cantlay. I could be wrong, but I would probably prefer Sung Jae Im or Tommy Fleetwood here. Sung Jae Im is probably the better option. I think it's pretty clearly like Ludwig, Sung Jae when you start considering the pricing and all of that stuff. So he's not going to sneak past anybody because Sung Jae Im finished T4 at the Farmers Insurance Open a couple of weeks ago, and he did it in really fine fashion. I do worry about the approach play at both Pebble Beach and the Phoenix Open, which again just kind of speaks to this 9K range. I don't think it's particularly good. Fleetwood's got the pedigree. Pendrith has probably the better fit. He's going to try to do it the other way, which we've talked about, a little bit more distance, and he did do it to a tune of a T7 and played three really good rounds at the South Course at the Farmers Insurance Open, and he's got back-to-back top 10 finishes. So maybe it's Pendrith. I'm kind of talking my way through this together. Maybe it's Ludwig Pendrith. Ludwig Pendrith, Fleetwood, Sungjae, all considering the salaries. I don't think that's too egregious, but it's not a range that I'm really thrilled about. I think the 8K range is a lot more interesting here. So Tom Kim's weekend was miserable around TPC Scottsdale. I'm still quite bullish on him for the year, but I already kind of alluded to what I think about Shane Lowry for this week. He's $8,800. I think he's priced in a really good spot to get him into a lot of lineups without much trouble. We talked about the way that he kind of got, quite honestly, screwed around the Farmers Insurance Open with the draw that he had and losing 1.1 strokes putting at the South Course. He's a very, very good putter. It's probably one of his strongest assets, even though he's turned into a really good ball striker over the last handful of years. Could have won at Pebble Beach, ended up finishing second there. He's got all these top 15 finishes. He's been I mean, the only blemish on his card or on his resume since the playoffs of last year was the miscut at Farmers, in which he got screwed. So I'm happily going back to Shane Lowry at $8,800. I think you're going to see, of course, a lot of momentum towards Jason Day, who gets, Jason Day, this dude's licking his chops, right? I mean, he gets to play Torrey at the Farmers, what place he's won twice and has made a career at, gets to go to Pebble Beach, and then he gets to go another career there, and then he gets to come back to Torrey Pines. Like, what an unbelievable run for Jason Day in terms of golf courses. I love to see how much better he putted at Pebble Beach, because that was the concern leading into the Farmers Insurance Open. We were talking a ton about his tee to green play, and the putter was ice cold. He putted horribly at Torrey. Well, we knew it wasn't going to hold him down forever. He gained all 4 rounds at Pebble Beach. Remember, we have the shot link data from Spyglass here. So he gained putting in all 4 rounds. That was the missing piece. That was the missing piece for Jason Day, and I already mentioned the record around this place is probably second to none. Russell Henley is at $8,600. I'm not going to go through all of these guys. Like, I'm not particularly interested in Sam Burns with the way that he's been playing. Jordan Spieth. We can talk a little bit about Jordan Spieth, but I want to pull up Russell Henley here. I think I was a little bit surprised to see that Russell did not play this event, did not play the Farmers Insurance Open. I don't know what it is. I think I always think about him at the U.S. Open in 2021. Every day but Sunday was really good. He is accurate off the tee, a very good second shot player. I think this golf course is a touch too long for him, or something about, I mean, he never plays here. Played here in 2021 for the US Open, and then he played here in 2014. I don't know if he doesn't like this place. I don't know what it is, but I'm kind of surprised he hasn't played here more frequently, because I think if he can find the fairway, it's a really good spot for him. And even when he lost a half a stroke off the tee at Pebble Beach in his last start, he still finished T5. T10 at Sony, where again, he's a small positive off the tee. So that's the thing. Is he going to be able to hit enough fairways? I think the answer is yes. I don't know how he feels, because he never tees it up here. Jordan Spieth. What we saw at TPC Scottsdale was full Spiethian. It was really good. The last 5 rounds for him are some of the best rounds that we've seen him play in quite some time. That goes back to the final round at Torrey Pines, and then at Pebble Beach, and then of course the 4 at TPC Scottsdale. I'm waiting. There are going to be a lot of Jordan Spieth courses. Remember when I said, I think was it about this place? No, it was about somewhere else. So like it was about Pebble. If Max Grazerman plays well at Pebble, he will have showed me a lot. If Jordan Spieth plays well here, he would have showed me a ton. His best finish here is T19. He's played here a significant amount. He's done that twice. Most of them are outside the top 30. I don't think this is a great spot for him. He's going to have to hit so many fairways. The Poana greens can neutralize some of his good putting. we're going to get we're going to get a run of Jordan Spieth events coming up. You know, you're going to get all those events in Texas. You're going to get the Masters. You're going to get Harbor Town. You're going to get Travelers. I think he is ahead of schedule right now in terms of this surgery coming back, but this is a test. This is a real true test for him. And I'm not sure he is going to pass that with flying colors. God, this 8K range is so good. I don't want to just talk about everybody, but I almost feel like I have to. Let me do quickly Finau. We'll do Rasmus. I mean, we got to talk about Set. I mean, geez, oh man. Okay. So this 8K range is great. We've been tracking Rasmus forever, and it is paying off. He is starting to put together stat profiles on the PGA Tour like he did on the DP World Tour, and those are really valuable. He did not play Sunday well. He actually, Saturday, he made a double on 15. Huge mistake on Saturday to play himself a little bit out of that tournament. Still finished par birdie. Strokes gained cojones there from Rasmus. The T22 at Pebble Beach, and look at these approach numbers, right? I mean, he's gaining 2 strokes minimum on approach every single week. I don't think we're close to seeing how good this kid is. I'm serious. And we're getting that from a lot of data here. $8,300 is very, very reasonable. I think he's going to be very, very good. Quickly on Finau, he was just the other one that kind of got screwed out of the North Course stuff. He didn't play as well as Shane Lowry on the North Course. In fact, he played pretty sour on Friday, but he was on the wrong end of the draw. I still think he's knocking off the rust. I think that what he did at Pebble Beach is a little bit unsustainable, but I did want to point him out. I'm like a 4 out of 10 there. Sepp Straka, what is there not to like, right? I mean, he goes to TPC Scottsdale, a place that he's been miserable at, finishes 15th, and he just continues to put up a 4 or 5 stroke week on approach. The putter's awesome. He is so comfortable within his own skin and within his own game right now. I am so impressed. The event that Thomas Dietrich put together, 19.6 strokes gained, is like one of the highest winning marks ever. Well, in the last like 4 or 5 years. Just so impressive. You know, I think you've probably heard me tell this story before. He was in the same group as Scotty Scheffler. Oh God, it was either the US Open or I think it was at Valhalla. I think it was the PGA Championship. And I was so impressed with his game. And I was just like, this kid's so close. He's so talented. Like, why is he not playing better? And he's got some decent results. He finally goes out and wins. Now for the first time in basically 10 years as a professional, he gets his first either win on the PGA Tour or the DP World Tour. We're going to wait and see, right? I don't think we need to get particularly right back in on Thomas Dietrich, despite having a good result here at the Farmers just a couple of weeks ago. But this feels like a bit of a tough ask. Again, if he proves me wrong, if I lose to Thomas Dietrich and he proves me wrong, hat tip to you, sir, because it is splendid stuff. All right, the 7K range here. I think we are ready to buy Victor Hovland. I'll tell you why. Basically 4 guaranteed rounds. $7,900 is the cheapest that he has been on DraftKings since, my goodness. I'm still scrolling, guys. I don't like when people do that. Like, oh, guys, well, did you see what I did, guys? When YouTubers do that, I hate that. Sorry. Since the 2020 Travelers Championship, this is when he turned pro. No, he was already a pro then, but that's how long we're talking about. I really liked the ball striking at Pebble Beach, right? He picks up nearly 5 strokes ball striking there. I know the short game is a problem. I know the putter is a problem. The good news is these should be easier around the green scenarios at the South Course. I'm not saying they're easy, but they should be a little bit easier. The greens are bigger. It is just, thick rough around the greens. I think he's going to be okay. And the Poana on the putting surfaces can sometimes neutralize. It kind of brings everybody back to the middle, right? So if you're struggling a little bit, maybe you get a little bit lucky, maybe whatever. Finished. So he withdrew from the US Open. Remember, he got like sand in his eye or something, and then he withdrew from the US Open after a round or two. The only other time he played, well, he played here in 2019, he missed the cut. He played here in 2021 and finished T2 and gained 4 strokes putting. That was well before a lot of, like any of the Joe Mayo stuff, which I know is short game, but I think this is a buy spot. Just too low. Minwoo Lee, I don't know what to do because he lost strokes on approach, which I would have liked to have seen, obviously, him gain there. That's the one thing that we were looking forward to. He picks up 6.7 strokes around the green. That is not going to happen again, but he lost with the putter, and he's usually a pretty good putter. Like, I am still thinking that Minwoo Lee, it's not going to be a straight line up and to the right. There's going to be little blips, little this, little that. If the blip is a T12 because he chipped in so beautifully and drove it so beautifully at TPC Scottsdale, I'm cool with that. I just hate, never mind. I was going to say, I think it's time for Cam Young. I don't think it's time for Cam Young. Driving it great. He picked up 7.3 strokes with the putter. He is still a mess on approach. No, I'm not even going to convince myself that is a thing. Now the 6K range, and the bottom of the 7K range, I don't think is nearly as good as the top of the 6. So Andrew Novak, who played well here at the Farmers and then followed it up with a T13 at Pebble Beach before missing the cut last week. We can look at how he missed the cut last week, but is only $6,900, and he's been playing well for probably a couple of months here. Not a great stat profile, but it was similar to the stat profile that he put together at Pebble Beach, in which he finished T13. Not entirely different. Daniel Berger is $6,900. He's going to be the most owned golfer in the field, right? Like, it just truly just gains throughout the bag at the Phoenix Open, has been putting together this significant improvement for 4 months, has the pedigree of one of the top players in the world, is $6,900. That he's going to be the most popular golfer on the slate. I'm not even sure it's that close. And then I think Cam Davis is really interesting. He's $6,800. I love the talent that he has on approach. I actually think the driver has let him down as of late. Sony Open and the American Express, he was pretty bad there, but he's usually better off the tee. We saw him club down a lot more at Pebble Beach, and he leaned into some of the better parts of his game, and he got a really decent finish out of it. But his 2025, throw out everything. He won last summer, and we're going to throw that out. We're going to throw out the T5 at the BMW Championship. We're throwing it all away. Just 2025 in general. 3 top 18 finishes in 4 starts. Very good approach numbers, very good around the green numbers, good enough putting numbers. And the ability, in a signature event field, to be a high upside, high finish golfer, T5, like he did at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Okay. I think that's really savvy. I'm dying to see what Christian Bezuidenhout did last week. Some of the swings I saw him take were gorgeous. Yeah, they were. Okay. This is a profile that we've seen him put together before. We saw him put it together at the Memorial, and it kind of lingered a little bit at times last year. He's not a good driver of the ball. He just has to keep it in play. He has found this, when he can gain on approach, he unlocks everything because he's such a good short game player. He's such a good putter. I want to look at his history here really, really quick. Missed cut last year, T46 in 2022, and then he played the US Open in 2021 and finished T31. Nothing great, but he's gained on approach in all 3 of those. Wow. Maybe something about this place fits his eye. This is a flyer. I'm not super confident. I would not be super confident if I was playing Christian Bezuidenhout, but I think it is worth a flyer because he's showing us ways that he can get to the top of the board. Speaking of which, I'm not sure what the upside is, but Gary Woodland's floor seems pretty strong right now. 2025 has been great to him. T16, T22, T21. The tee to green numbers are great. The putter is improving. He's a 0 putter in 2025. That is all we need. His history here, he's played here like 17 times. I think he's missed the cut twice. This is a really good stat profile we're seeing. He possesses the club head speed to get through the thick rough. Like, yes, baby. Yes. Let's go. I think it is Gary Woodland's time. I do worry that the finish, I think he's a little cat. I think the floor is high. I also think the ceiling is pretty low, unfortunately. I haven't been able to mention Tiger Woods' name in a field or show his profile since the Open Championship. I guess the PNC Championship, maybe I showed it. I don't know. I think he's going to make the cut. I don't have any other, I don't think anything else. Listen, it's a very easy cut to make. He still drives it very long. This is a way better course for him than Riviera. Remember, he's never won at Riviera. It's the course he's played the most without a victory. He's never won at Riviera. He's won here 8 times. It's a better setup for him, even still in 2025. I don't have a lot of confidence, but it's flatter. It's straightforward. Yeah, I think he makes the cut. I don't think he contends or anything. I think he probably finishes like T63 if he plays all 4 rounds. He's had trouble doing that. But I think that it's way better of a setup than Riviera for him, quite honestly. God, there's some really good players deep down this list. I want to see what the model says. Let's run a model here. Well, Tiger will not be making the cut. I literally just got the notification as I'm doing this live that Tiger Woods withdrew. Said he's not ready, still processing the loss of his mother. So Tiger Woods is not teeing it up this week. Unfortunate, but I guess I understand. All right. Let's try to turn this around here. Let's do a little bit of a custom model. So what I'm going to do is, I just cleared out all my old models. I should have saved my farmers one from earlier. Okay. I've been liking to work backwards. So let's do course history, strokes gain. I'm only going to put like 10 on this. I don't think it's super crazy. So 10 on Torrey Pines South. I liked long courses. I think that worked out pretty well. Long and hard always works out well. So 10 and 10 for those. Then we are going to do putting on Poana, 15. Around the green, I want scrambling. This is what got Harris English, I think, bumped up my thing from earlier here. We'll do good drive. I guess we could do total driving. Total driving's probably better in this scenario. So we'll put 10 there. Then we are just going to do straight up strokes gained off the tee, last 50 for 15, and then approach for last 36 for 15. Don't reset. My number one golfer is, Roald McIlroy. Rory is short for Roald. No, Rory number one. Wow. But he and Scotty are kind of in their own tier there. There's a pretty big gap to third. So Rory, Scotty, 1, 2. Colin 3, Sam Stevens 4. Sure, why not? Is Sam Stevens modeling well? Because, I guess it doesn't matter. We've got a chicken or the egg situation. I mean, he does model well in a lot of the stats that aren't even not from what he did a couple weeks ago. Adam Scott 5, Hideki 6, Tommy Fleetwood 7, Justin Thomas 8, Ludwig 9, Maverick McNeely 10. Yeah, Victor's 12. I have Victor 12th, $7,900. Berger 20th, $6,900. Yeah, he's going to be the most popular golfer on the slate. Aaron Rye. Yeah, that's not bad either. Okay, well, listen. Oh, I forgot to mention, and I'm so sorry about this. The live chat for this week is Tuesday. I'm so sorry. I am traveling on Wednesday. I'm not going to be able to do the Wednesday live chat, but we're not going to miss it. Moving it up a day. Tuesday live chat. The links for everything you need are in the description. Sign up for my free newsletter. Let's fill the splash contest. Let's have fun. I will talk to you guys soon. Good luck this week.